A darker force seems to be emerging in Emmerdale as Arthur Thomas slowly begins to step into the dangerous territory once ruled by Ray Walters. As the child of a vicar, Arthur has been raised to understand the dangers of temptation. Yet after taking a bag filled with drugs and money from Ray, he has let that temptation pull him into a shadowy path and create distance between himself and his mother. It began with stealing the bag, followed by his sharp and disrespectful attitude toward Laurel Thomas, which led to a heated moment between them. Afterward, he secretly hid the money and started spending it on treats that actually belonged to April Windsor's family, showing just how far his sense of right and wrong has slipped. April quickly sensed something had changed and feared he was becoming drawn to a flashy, reckless lifestyle. Although he denied everything, Arthur was quietly relishing his taste of Ray's criminal world. Using the stolen cash, he bought an expensive new phone and became so obsessed with it that his work performance began to suffer, forcing Gabby Thomas to step in and take a firm managerial stance. After a major argument, the troubled teenager storms out and quits his job, leaving Laurel overwhelmed with guilt and questioning whether she has failed as a parent. Her anxiety deepens when she discovers Arthur searching for his passport, intending to run away and use his sudden wealth to start a new life in Australia. When she challenges him about how he could possibly afford such a move, she uncovers an envelope stuffed with cash. Furious, Laurel confronts him, and Arthur admits the money came from Ray's bag. As tensions explode, he threatens to accuse her of hitting him if she refuses to let him keep the cash, showing just how manipulative he has become. Laurel is devastated, realizing she is losing her son as he desperately searches for the money she has hidden away. He pleads with her to return it so he can leave the country, but after he walks out, Laurel makes a choice that could permanently damage their bond. Overhearing Marlon Dingle and Rona Goskirk talking about their financial struggles, she decides what she will do with the stolen money. But could her decision unleash even greater trouble? In upcoming scenes of Emmerdale, Kane Dingle is hit with yet another crushing blow, just when he thinks life cannot possibly get worse. And this time, Ruby Milligan is the one delivering it. At the beginning of 2026, Kane and Moira Dingle were caught up in the devastating Corriedale crash. Kane was rushed to hospital after being shot, but doctors soon discovered something else deeply concerning: a lump that needed urgent testing for cancer. Though he and Moira tried to stay hopeful, their situation quickly began to unravel. Matters worsened when Joe Tate pressured Robert Sugden into planting ID cards from Celia Daniels' farmhouse at Moira's property. This led police, particularly DS Walsh, to believe Moira was involved in a human trafficking operation, given her business connection to Celia. Despite her efforts, proving her innocence became increasingly difficult as more disturbing evidence surfaced. Meanwhile, after learning from Beowulf about refugee Anya, Ruby discovered the young woman she once tried to help had been murdered. She located the burial site and alerted the authorities. Ruby and Caleb Milligan watched in horror as police uncovered Anya's body, only to find another corpse buried nearby. The shocking discovery made it even harder to see how Moira could escape suspicion. Amid all this chaos, Kane finally received his test results. Forced to attend the appointment alone while Moira remained in custody, he learned he has prostate cancer. True to his guarded nature, he decided to keep the diagnosis secret, though he eventually confided in Sarah Sugden after she sensed something was wrong. She has supported him quietly, but believes he would cope better if he shared the truth with others. Things take an even darker turn when Ruby reveals something that leaves Kane reeling. Already overwhelmed, he questions why police seem more focused on the murder of Ray Walters than on discovering who buried 2 women on Moira's land. Unable to carry the guilt any longer, Ruby confesses that she was the one who called police about Anya's grave. The realization devastates Kane, because without that call, Moira might not now be facing accusations tied to multiple deaths. The storyline paints a relentless picture of hardship, exploring a man unaccustomed to sharing his emotions as he confronts illness, fear, and overwhelming pressure, all while his relationship with Moira is tested by prison, secrets, and unbearable strain. Their love is at the heart of it all, but with challenge after challenge closing in, the question remains, when will their suffering finally ease? Fans of Emmerdale are convinced Bear Wolf could be heading for a heartbreaking exit, and many viewers are devastated. Bear has endured an incredibly traumatic year. He previously left the village claiming he was travelling to Ireland to reconnect with old friends, but after weeks without contact, his son Paddy Kirk grew deeply worried. It was eventually revealed that Bear had been held captive on a remote farm, trapped in a criminal operation run by Celia Daniels and Ray Walters. Their exploitation ring was eventually exposed, but chaos followed. Ray killed Celia in a desperate attempt to cut ties with her, only to later die himself when Bear, who everyone thought was dead, reappeared and restrained him while protecting Paddy. Since then, Paddy has done everything he can to keep Bear out of prison, but a dramatic episode changed everything. During a counselling session, Bear finally broke down and admitted responsibility for Ray's death. Soon after, D.S. Walsh arrested him, leaving Paddy shattered as he watched his father being taken away in handcuffs. Despite Paddy's desperate reassurance, Bear confessed the truth, and now fans fear his fate may be sealed. Many viewers believe this could signal Bear's departure from the show, with online discussions filled with sadness and speculation that his confession marks the beginning of the end for his storyline. Upcoming developments only heighten the tension. During police questioning, Bear tells D.S. Walsh he was responsible for Ray's death, though he struggles to recall the exact details and insists he acted alone and that it was not intentional. Meanwhile, Marlon Dingle rushes to support Paddy, who is consumed by guilt. Under pressure, Bear continues to insist no one else was involved, even when D.S. Walsh challenges inconsistencies in his account. Back at home, Paddy breaks down, terrified that he, Bear, and Dylan could all face prison. Marlon tries to reassure him that Bear's actions may be ruled self-defense, which could lead to his release. But the situation becomes even more worrying when investigators question how Bear could have moved Ray's body alone. D.S. Walsh grows suspicious, and when D.C. Chen summons Paddy and Dylan for questioning, the pressure intensifies. Bear is eventually charged with manslaughter. Although his solicitor argues he acted in self-defense, giving Paddy hope he might secure bail, Bear shocks everyone by insisting on pleading guilty, determined to do what he believes is the honourable thing. With his future uncertain and fans fearing the worst, many are wondering if this heartbreaking confession has truly sealed Bear's exit for good. Emmerdale is broadcast on weekday nights at 8 p.m. on ITV1, and viewers can also watch it online via ITVX.